Notable inmates and the use of the Yuma Territorial Prison. The Yuma Territorial Prison opened up in 1876 and is located on top of a rock-looking thing overlooking the Colorado River. It closed in 1909 and became the 3rd Arizona State Park in 1961. The Yuma Territorial Prison played a major role back then by allowing certain convicts in, and also had its ups and downs. For example, they had trouble managing inmates who tried to escape, and the good that came out of the prison was using it as a high school for 4 years. There were 4 people that were very well known for the types of damage they did to deserve to be in the prison. Ricardo Flores was in there for violating the Neutrality Act. Basically, the Neutrality Act was made to confine the United States' involvement in future wars. Another well-known prisoner was William Jordan Flake. He was arrested for unlawful plural marriage. Instead of fleeing to Mexico to avoid prosecution like many others, he challenged the Edmunds Act, calling it a mockery, a travesty on justice, and served 6 months in prison. He later lived with his 2 wives and 20 children. Another notable inmate was Frank Leslie, who killed his girlfriend in a drunken rage. A notable female inmate was Elena Estrada, who was sentenced to 7 years for manslaughter when she stabbed her unfaithful lover, then cut open his chest, pulled out his heart, and threw the bloody mass into his face. While these people were some of the well-known prisoners, they were not the only ones who violated laws. Among all murders in the prison, the number 1 killer was tuberculosis. According to Mayo Clinic, it is a serious infectious disease that mainly affects your lungs, and it spreads between person to person. Due to lack of security, 8 inmates were shot trying to escape because they did not have enough security to contain them all. 2 inmates died from homicide because they were attacked by another prisoner, which is a result of overcrowding. Other reasons that inmates died were from suicides, work accidents, and one was executed by the Yuma County. The prison was not only a way to kill someone slowly, but it was also home for a high school. The Yuma Territorial Prison was a very helpful place to Yuma high school students for 4 years. The reason they took over in 1910 until 1914 was because their school was burned down. In 1913, the Yuma high school football team traveled to Phoenix to play the Coyotes. Yuma High won the game, which resulted in Coyotes becoming angry. In an attempt to insult the Yuma High players, the opposing team began to call them criminals. According to the Yuma High School website, at first, criminals was a fighting word. Before long, students and teachers wore the name with pride, and in 1917, the school board officially adopted the nickname. Yuma High School has been proudly called the home of the criminals ever since. Their mascot is copyrighted, meaning there's only one school with the mascot. It was not only helpful to a high school, but it became a helpful resource for many people who had questions about it. In conclusion, Yuma Territorial Prison played a major role in Yuma back then and even now by teaching or providing information. By visiting the prison itself, it was surprising that although they were low on security, they managed to keep an eye out for inmates who tried to escape, and was incredibly inspiring that it allowed a high school to take over for 4 years in order to complete their education while their school was being reconstructed. Overall, this historical is a way to learn about a small important piece of where you live or where your roots are from.